What's up, Airsofters? Welcome to my review of the T1 Red and Green Dot Micro Reflex Sight. As you can see, I have the tan version here. This T1 Red Dot sight is by evike.com and also manufactured by AIM Sports. Both of those are reliable companies, and AIM Sports is an awesome optics manufacturer. Now, this optic has a really long name, the T1 Red and Green Dot Micro Reflex Sight. It's called the Micro because it is so small. It measures only a little over 2 inches long here and sits not very high off the gun. However, they did include a rail riser, so that is what lets the optic sit as high as it does, because it gives some space between the rail and the actual optic itself. That is this segment here between the reticle and the top rail of the gun. That is included. It's made of metal and it's the same color as the rest of the optic. Fits all standard 20mm rails. So that is an awesome feature because it makes the optic just in the right position for if you wear a mask or if you wear goggles. They could get in the way of an optic that sits too low on the gun. As well, some guns have folding sights like the SCAR-L here. You can see the rear sight folds down, but still this base of the rear sight sticks up quite a bit. That rail riser gives the optic just enough room to clear that sight completely, giving you the perfect line of sight down the optic, and it lines up just right with your face. This optic has 5 levels of brightness on each setting. There's a red setting and a green setting. That's why it's called the Red and Green Dot Optic. So this is not just your standard red dot sight, because it also includes the green dot in the same package. So this large knob here on the side determines the intensity or brightness level of your dot. It also determines whether you're using your green dot or your red dot. There are 11 settings on it. There's an off, and there are the 5 green settings and the 5 red settings. 1 through 5 on each one. Now 1 is the dimmest setting and 5 is the brightest setting. And it's really nice to have both red and green, because green is more visible in dark areas or at nighttime, and red is more visible during the day. The reason you have different levels of brightness or intensity is because the higher the intensity, the faster it drains your battery life. But on a bright sunny day, you're going to need that high intensity dot to be able to see it. You want it to stand out and have definitely some contrast from the surroundings. Now, if the day is too bright and too sunny, never fear, because the dot on this T1 Red and Green Dot sight always shows up. I've tested it out in bright situations and in dim situations, and it is definitely there. You're not going to lose it when scanning around for your targets. This optic, if you're wondering about size, is a 20mm reticle. Now that's not too small. It's really easy to aim down, and it's very intuitive. You can use this red dot sight with both eyes open or with one eye closed. So if you're used to aiming down irons where you close your left eye or your right eye, depending on how you fire, you don't have to do that with this sight. You can aim down it with both eyes open. That's why it's called the reflex sight, because it's so instinctive and reflexive to just shoulder the gun. The optic's in the right place and the dot is right there lined up on your target. You don't have to mess with lining up a bunch of irons. That can be pretty tricky, especially if your rear sight has a very small hole. In addition, this sight includes windage and elevation knobs, so you can position that dot anywhere inside the actual optic that you want for maximum accuracy. Now, that windage and elevation adjustment feature is very nice. Both of these windage and elevation knobs, one's on top, the elevation, the windage is here on the right side of the optic. Those have caps on them that unscrew and can be adjusted with a standard flathead screwdriver. Now, the optic itself is made of metal, as is the rail riser, and the lenses are glass. Included with the T1 Red and Green Dot Optic is a rubberized black lens caps. Now, those 2 lens caps are attached, so you're not going to lose them, but they do protect those glass lenses when you're transporting or storing the gun or optic. Those are very handy to have because it keeps your optic from being damaged, and they are removable. You don't have to permanently alter or damage your optic to take those off. They pop right off and pop right back on whenever you need to protect that lens. The total price on the T1 Red and Green Dot Optic by evac.com is $55, which is a great affordable price for a good quality optic that's made of metal and has this many brightness settings. It takes a standard CR2032 button type battery, which you can pick up almost anywhere or order online if you do that. Now, that battery lasts a long time. It's estimated to have 2,000 hours of battery life on the very lowest brightness setting. On higher brightness settings, it's going to take more, so you may want to keep that in mind. If you're playing in a dim area, go ahead and turn that down as long as you can still see it. But the battery on this thing lasts a great amount of time, and the batteries for it are easy to find, so you don't have to worry about whether you're going to be able to find a new battery or not. This optic is advertised as real steel ready, meaning it can be used on an actual real steel firearm. What's great about that is it says that this optic is high quality and that it attaches to the rail very firmly and is extremely sturdy. The reason you know that is because real steel firearms have recoil, and oftentimes a lot of recoil, which can make many optics wiggle loose. You don't want that, even on an airsoft gun, because you don't want your optic to come flying off and hit the floor and get damaged. That will not happen with this T1 Red Dot because it is out of the box, ready to go, real steel ready. It can be used in day or night, indoor or outdoor, and is always very helpful to speed up acquiring targets. So when you're aiming down, it's very instinctive, very reflexive. Finding targets is very easy. It also has unlimited eye relief because this is a one-time zoom optic, which means it does not have any magnification. If you're looking for magnification, you're going to have to find a different optic, but this is an incredible one for most distances because it makes finding your targets really easy, really simple, and with that no zoom, it means you can mount the optic anywhere you want on the gun, as far away from or as close to your eye as you want, because it has unlimited eye relief. Well, that's it for this review, guys. Thanks so much for watching Wolfpack Airsoft. I'll see you guys next week right here on the channel.